In this video, I will explain my choices for the strongest team in Pokemon Platinum using Torterra as your starter. This team was able to defeat all the mandatory trainers in the game from Rourke all the way to Champion Cynthia without extra grinding, finishing the story with a level cap of 45 and an average level of around 41. Cynthia's team has a level cap of 62 and an average level of around 59, which makes for an average level gap of around 18 levels. Cynthia is notorious for being one of the strongest champions in the mainline Pokemon games, so beating her team with a level gap that is that big is no easy task, and it certainly is not one that just any team can accomplish. Comment down below your favorite Torterra team for a chance to be featured in my ongoing Best Team series. I am DFuego, and this is the strongest team for Pokemon Platinum using Torterra as your starter. In crafting any team that I advocate as the strongest in the Pokemon game, it is essential to identify those obstacles that require a specific strategy to defeat, and know what that strategy is. If you are unable to do this, you are doomed to create a team that is unable to overcome certain obstacles in the game without extra grinding, and such a team cannot be called the strongest. The members picked for the team are those which enable the team to execute the strategies needed to overcome all the mandatory trainers in the game. That being said, since this is an alternate starter best team, it has already been established that Torterra is not the strongest starter to add to this team, so we have to understand how Torterra can be used in a team before picking the other members based on the relevant obstacles. Torterra can defeat Rourke's Rock-type gym, Fantina's Ghost types because of the moves Bite and Curse, Wake's Quagsire and Floatzel also due to Curse, Voltor's Jolteon, and Leaford Bertha's Whiscash, Golem, Rhyperior, and Hippowdon. That's a pretty decent chunk of the obstacles in Pokemon Platinum. However, Torterra is practically useless against Champion Cynthia, the biggest obstacle in this game, so we need to rely on other members of this team to take her down. The other members will be selected in numerical order based on the obstacles leading up to Cynthia, but each will be discussed in terms of how they specifically contribute in defeating Champion Cynthia. The first obstacle of note is Gardenia's Grass-type gym. She is weak to all of these types, but Ice types are not available before this gym, and Poison types as well as Bug types are useless against Champion Cynthia. So let's look at the Fire and Flying type. The only Fire type available before this gym that isn't Infernape is Rapidash, who has no means of contributing to the team outside of his Fire type attacks. So it would appear that the Flying type is the better type to pick for overcoming this gym. The Flying types available before this gym are Staraptor, Crobat, Gyarados, Vespiquen, Mothim, and Drifblim. Gyarados doesn't learn a move that is super effective against grass types until level 32, so he is eliminated from contention. None of the other Pokemon are capable of taking down Champion Cynthia's Pokemon individually, including Roserade because their level gap is just too big. However, the Pokemon of choice can provide support for the main anchor who will proceed to sweep all of Cynthia's team. Staraptor, Crobat, Vespiquen, and Mothim can learn the move U-turn, but this does not really help to set up the main anchor because all it does is pivot into the main anchor, which does not provide it with any particular advantage to sweep Cynthia. Drifblim, on the other hand, learns the following moves: Stockpile, Minimize, Substitute, and, most importantly, Baton Pass. These moves provide a doll that tanks at least one hit from the opponent, a boost to Drifblim's defenses and evasiveness, and a means to provide those boosts to the main anchor. The main anchor still needs to set up his offensive tools upon being switched in, but the heightened evasiveness and substitute provide a safe environment for him to do so. Drifblim is the best flying type to overcome Gardenia's gym. However, Drifblim's Ghost type makes him weak to Spiritom's Dark Pulse and Shadow Ball, so Drifblim cannot reliably set up the main anchor by himself. That's where the next Pokemon comes in. This Pokemon will also provide Grottle a few turns to set up Curse so that he can sweep Fantina's Ghost-type gym. In both cases, this is done by putting the opponent's Pokemon to sleep. There are two moves that can do this, which are Yawn and Hypnosis. However, Yawn is more reliable because it is guaranteed to hit, while Hypnosis only has an accuracy of 60%. There are three Pokemon that learn Yawn which you can access before battling Fantina, which are Bibarel, Togekiss, and Chimecho. However, Bibarel does not learn this move until level 28, and Chimecho does not learn the move until level 25, both of which are levels you cannot reach before battling Fantina unless you go out of your way to grind your Pokemon's levels. This makes Togekiss the right choice to add to this team. Togekiss also knows the move Sweet Kiss, which can be used to confuse the opponent before she goes to sleep and potentially add a few more turns where she doesn't attack. Togekiss is without a doubt a great addition to be included on this team. That being said, putting a Pokemon to sleep only provides 1 to 3 turns for Drifblim to set up the main anchor against Cynthia, which isn't enough. However, there's another member that will be discussed later which utilizes those few turns to decrease Spiritomb's accuracy to the point that he practically fires blanks with each attack. I'll come back to this point later in the video. In the meantime, let's focus on the next obstacle that requires a specific mon, which is Maylene's fighting type gym. You would not think that this gym is an obstacle considering we already have 2 flying types on our team, but her Lucario steel typing neutralizes his weakness to the flying type, and both Meditite and Machoke know Rock Tomb, which is strong against Drifloon and Togetic. However, there is a dual typing that cancels out the defensive weapon of Meditite and Machoke and also takes care of Lucario. This typing is Flying and Ground. There is one Pokemon in this game with that ability, which is Gliscor. Gliscor is the main anchor of this team that will sweep all of Champion Cynthia's team because he has access to the moves Agility and Swords Dance, which enable him to outspeed and one-shot all of her Pokemon except Togekiss, because of her bulk, but she will be taken out in 2 turns instead. Agility is obtained through an egg move. It's easy enough to breed for this move. Just catch a male Scyther that knows Agility on Route 210 right above Solaceon Town and take it back to the daycare in Solaceon Town so that he can have some lovey-dovey time with a female Gligar, and they'll breed an egg that hatches a Gligar which knows the move Agility from the get-go. You can bike up and down Solaceon Town to hatch him right away, and then you can level him up quickly by giving him the experience share and battling trainers that you run into on the way to Veilstone City and Pistoria City. You can also have him fully evolved before battling Maylene by raising him a level while holding the Razor Fang at nighttime. The Razor Fang can be found at this spot in Route 214. When set up by other team members, Gliscor is strong enough to sweep all of the Elite Four, except Bronzong, as well as Cynthia herself once he has set up Agility and Swords Dance. This is why Peachel said in one of his videos that Gliscor is broken in Pokemon Platinum, and it probably contributes to the reasons why MNJTV is such a fan of this Pokemon. Gliscor is one of the strongest, if not the strongest Pokemon in all of Pokemon Platinum, and he is the perfect sweeper to work together with the rest of the team to overcome a good chunk of the obstacles in this game. Remember how I mentioned that making a Pokemon sleep does not provide enough turns for Drifblim to set up Gliscor, and there needs to be a Pokemon that can cripple Spiritomb's attacks by lowering his accuracy? Well, now's the time to pick that Pokemon. At this point, the obstacles that have not yet been accounted for are Wake's Gyarados, Byron's Steelix, Candace's Ice Gym, Galactic Leader Cyrus's Gyarados and Weavile, Elite Four Flint's Houndoom, and Elite Four Lucian's Mr. Mime. Gyarados has a 4 times weakness to electric types, and there is an electric type Pokemon that learns Sand Attack, which is a move that can be used to lower Spiritomb's accuracy. That Pokemon is Jolteon. Jolteon fulfills the final role needed to enable Drifblim to set up Gliscor to sweep all of Cynthia's team. He also takes care of the Gyarados of Wake and Galactic Leader Cyrus. That leaves us with Byron's Steelix, Candace's Ice Gym, Galactic Leader Cyrus's Weavile, Elite Four Flint's Houndoom, and Elite Four Lucian's Mr. Mime. Steelix, Candace's Ice types, and Galactic Leader Cyrus's Weavile are weak to the Fire type, and a Dark type is needed to set up Gliscor against Elite Four Lucian's Mr. Mime. Since there is only 1 slot left on the team, the Pokemon needs to have both the Dark and Fire type, and there is one Pokemon which fits this criterion. That Pokemon is Houndoom. Houndoom takes care of all the remaining obstacles in the game except Elite Four Flint's Houndoom. Or at least that's how it appears. Our Houndoom is actually the key to defeating Elite Four Flint's Houndoom. How? Well, it's a matter of exploiting Flint's attack pattern with his Houndoom. Flint likes to open up with his Houndoom and use the move Sunny Day. You can exploit this turn to have Togekiss use Yawn and then switch into your Houndoom for free since his Houndoom will attack with a Fire type move. This is because of the ability Flash Fire, which makes the user immune to Fire type attacks. His Houndoom doesn't have the Flash Fire ability, so you can attack his Houndoom with Fire Blast, which is beefed up thanks to Sunny Day and the 50% boost Flash Fire provides when our Houndoom is attacked by a Fire type move. This deals more damage to his Houndoom than that caused by his Houndoom's Dark Pulse. Flint will then switch him out for Infernape. Infernape will use a fighting type move to attack our Houndoom's Dark type, so he can send in Gliscor, who will take little damage from that move. Infernape will then attack with Flare Blitz, and Gliscor is tanky enough to handle 1 hit. Flare Blitz deals recoil damage to Infernape, which is something that can be exploited to set up Gliscor. Gliscor can use the first turn Infernape uses Flare Blitz to boost his speed with Agility, and then you can use a potion on Gliscor so that he can take another Flare Blitz while Infernape deals additional damage to himself. Flint will then restore Infernape's health, and Gliscor can use this turn to boost his attack with Swords Dance. Gliscor will then sweep Flint's entire team, including Houndoom, due to outspeeding them and having a boosted physical attack. Against Elite Four Lucian, Houndoom sets up Gliscor against Mr. Mime by pivoting with either Gliscor or Torterra to drain Mr. Mime's attacking PP. Mr. Mime's moveset consists of the moves Psychic, Thunderbolt, Reflect, and Light Screen. Houndoom is immune to Psychic, while Gliscor and Torterra are immune to Thunderbolt. It is important to note that Gliscor can't one-shot Elite Four Lucian's Pokemon, while Reflect is still in effect due to the boosted defense, so make sure to hold off on attacking until Reflect has worn off. Houndoom does not play a role in defeating Champion Cynthia, but he is the Pokemon needed to set up Gliscor against Elite Four Flint and Lucian and take out the remaining obstacles in the game. So Houndoom is the key 6th member to add to this team. And there you have it, the strongest team for Pokemon Platinum using Torterra as your starter. I have 2 teams for Empoleon that successfully defeated Cynthia under my playthrough rules, so I am analyzing which one is the better team for you guys to use before making the strongest Empoleon team for Pokemon Platinum video. If you guys think you have a better team for Pokemon Platinum, drop it in the comment section below for a chance to be featured in my ongoing Best Team series. That's pretty much it for this video, thanks for watching. DFuego, signing out.